I love the music, the DJ is incredible.
The people are really awesome.
Frank. Headshot. Frank. Sit down. Frank. Stand up. Frank. Pass out. Frank. Wake up. Frank. Hate it. Frank.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Alchemix. This is the Alchemix channel, and I've been a little quiet on my YouTube lately because I've been putting in a lot of work to try and get my foot in the door of my new dream home. Part of the reason it's my dream home, there's a 1,000 square foot dance hall upstairs that's all decked out for the DJ. This room is going to be my new studio. I'm going to set this up today. I can't live without it any longer. So I figured I'd do a quick video of how I'm going to set up my studio. It is something that it's never really done. If you're doing it right, your studio is constantly going to need tweaks to the acoustic treatment, changes to the equipment to help your workflow go a little faster and smoother. Whatever it takes, don't ever create a studio and assume it can't be better, because ultimately any little thing you can do to make yourself more productive, you should be constantly looking into that, considering how you can better your workflow. So we're going to start off with some acoustic treatment. We'll bring in some speakers, some extra plugs, because you can never have too many outlets. And let's get going.
The good old days, the good old days. Well, let's talk about the good old days.
Now, in the past, I realized that I have a tendency to overdo it with the acoustic treatment. I end up more what's called an isolation booth. I don't want to have complete isolation. You actually want to try and preserve some of the acoustic qualities of your room. So this time I'm going to be doing a different approach. I'm not going to start out by covering every square inch of this room in foam panels and bass traps. I'm going to do just enough to kind of try and cut down on the echo that I can hear in the space. It's not very big, but it's still very noticeable.
Hey, you know, everybody's talking about the good old days, right? Everybody, the good old days, the good old days.
I'm not going to measure, I'm not going to use a laser level. I'm just trying to basically hit the big, broadest, flat walls and prevent high frequencies from bouncing around as much. In my opinion, we're worried about how it sounds, not how it looks. Nobody can really tell how your studio looks from one of the tracks you make. The point is to just give yourself the advantage that when you're hearing your music playback, you hear it, a true flat reproduction of it. You can never have too many outlets in your studio room. This is a daisy chain. It's amazing. I think it's just 36 feet with an outlet every 6 or 6.5 feet. I'm basically just gonna plug it in and wrap it around the room. These Yamaha HS7s are incredible studio monitors for the price. I bought them very early on and they have been extremely reliable. They just have great sound. A lot of ways you can tune and dial them in. I wouldn't trade these for the world. When it comes to bullet bikes in studio monitors, go Yamaha. I used to like to run my monitors sideways. I'm going to try going back to upright just because unless they're specifically designed to run sideways, technically you're supposed to lose some dispersion for the high end. I also had a tendency to set them up about head level for when I'm standing. I assume I'm going to be doing a lot more production sitting here, so I'm bringing them down lower. It should be right about your ear level for whatever you're going to be doing the most of, standing, sitting, whatever. Try and get it on the same plane as your ears. This is my Complete Control A61. It's the melody maker. I love it. I really am glad that I jumped into the keyboard market with a slightly bigger one. I'd like to get like an MPK25 for my portable setup when I'm using my MPC Live or whatever. But for an in-house keyboard, that thing is super awesome. I am not a classically trained pianist. I just figure out keys and then mark them with these little sticky notes, and it allows me to be able to slowly but surely come up with the kind of melody lines that I like to make. These are cheapy little bass traps, and they're definitely not the highest effective type of tool. For a big venue, you're going to want to like build your own probably and have pretty massive bass traps. For a smaller room like this, I got about 6 of them, and you want to put them in the corners where bass tends to bounce around and amplify and create that boomy resonance that is undesirable. You actually want them about 1 inch away from the wall, and essentially they say if you have one bass trap in this corner, the opposite corner is technically covered. It's good to have one in each side, but if you only have a limited amount of bass traps, put them both on one wall, or essentially just know that the opposite corner is covered technically by the way that it reverberates. This here is my studio microphone. This is an Audio-Technica AT4040. And again, I love this microphone. It's got an amazing balance, and it's not too terribly hard to work with right from the get-go. Some of these studio mics are so sensitive they'll pick up a pin drop in the other room and you can't even get a usable signal unless you've created a space from the ground up specifically for that purpose of recording. This is a SE little sound shield to just kind of prevent a lot of sounds from bouncing off the wall behind it and coming back and getting picked up again. Excellent starter studio mic if you don't have one. It's not the cheapest, but I've been extremely impressed with the durability, with the sound signal I get through it. I love this microphone, the AT4040. I won't finish it today, but I'll be doing a lot more acoustic treatment in that closet where I'm gonna have the microphone set up for recording. This is still very much the center of my professional production work. I love my machine, MK3. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I have grown extremely fond of the MPC Live as well. However, I still, when I'm trying to make something polished, something closer to mixed and mastered, I'm going to be doing it on the machine. It's just an incredible tool. I love the software. I had a lot of people tell me not to buy this. I had a lot of people tell me I needed to just get Ableton, and I'm so glad that I went with my gut and went in the direction that I did, because this is absolutely it is my instrument. This is what I prefer to produce on if I have a choice. This is my buddy's Focusrite. He let me borrow it. I don't think I'll be able to live without it when he wants it back. I use this mostly for when I want to record in live instruments. I like to record it into separate software using this audio interface. Classical acoustic guitar, one of the few instruments I do feel pretty comfortable jamming out on. It's where I learned chords and progressions and stuff like that. I'm still far from a professional, but this is an excellent tool for coming up with a progression. Even if I don't like the actual instrument in that song, I can still use that same progression using a different virtual instrument. A buddy of mine just donated the bass guitar. I love it. I'm not great on it, however I've had the kind of joy making bass lines with this that I can't even really describe. Like when you're trying to paint it in, it's just not the same. An excellent instrument that most producers should consider putting in their studio. This is the DJ 808 by Roland. It's an amazing controller, 4-channel Serato. And although I don't personally use Serato very much when I'm performing, I still use it all the time because I have pitch and time on there. I'll manipulate a lot of files and re-record it in Serato, then spit it out before I put it into my DAW. Primarily though, these days, it's just used standalone for the drum sequencer. And I highly recommend it. It's an amazing controller that Roland has continued to update the firmware and take care of. It's a little finicky because it's a mirrored layout, which was kind of a fad that came and went. But other than that, I'm not a huge fan of the feel of the jog wheels. It's not bad, it's just I prefer CDJs or turntables, definitely. But the drum machine that's attached to this is pretty dang complete and functional, and I personally think it's worth it just for that alone. I am very much a sample-based DJ. This Audio-Technica 1240 is such an incredible deck for DJing, for scratching, for mixing. But I keep this one specifically just in my studio because it can line out straight into my machine. I can basically pick up any samples and start working with them. And here we have just a couple little trinkets of mine. I like to make sure it feels like your space, your little things that inspire you. Got an old Victrola style phonograph. This is Tchaikovsky, he's my dude. And this is a note that I got while I was DJing. A lady handed it to me while I was doing a birthday party down on the pier. And she could kind of tell that I thought it was a tip, and she said, "Oh, it's not money." And you know, I kind of put it aside and didn't read it right away. But what it says, "Thank you for your help. You may never know how you helped or how much, but you saved my life. Thank you, K." To be honest, this right here is worth more to me than any tip I ever could have received. This is why I DJ, it's why I like to produce music. There was a time in my life where I was extremely depressed, and it wasn't until I started going out and dancing again and jiving with DJs and having fun and stuff that I started to feel alive again. Music saved my life too at one point. And if I can do that for somebody else, then the last 5 years of my life that I've dedicated to DJing and music production, it's worthwhile. Even if I never make any money with it, even if I never have a chart-topping single, whatever, this right here means more to me than anything. I try and keep it where I can see it when I'm producing, because when I get frustrated and I want to just walk away, this is the kind of stuff that helps me remember, like, there are people out there who are still struggling, and music is such a powerful medicine that can help them overcome their unfortunate situation and begin to feel alive again. Like, it's something that means everything to me, and I hope you guys get some sort of similar opportunity from your work in this industry if you choose to pursue it professionally. And of course, my central piece, my laptop here. So we're far from done. I gotta wire everything up. I gotta get bass traps hung. I gotta get more cables routed. But you can see the basic idea of what I like to use in my personal production studio and how it all interacts together. I hope that this will be helpful for some of you guys. I'm very much a hardware-based producer. You don't need all of this equipment in order to make music. I'm coming from a DJ performance background, and I like to do live remixing. I like to do on-the-fly type bootlegs and mashups and crazy stuff. So I definitely prefer to have all of this equipment and to finger drum manually and to sample off vinyl and then scratch over the beat in the end, and you know, program drum beats and punch out melodies myself. There is absolutely nothing wrong if you just prefer to paint it all in a DAW inside of your software. Like, at the end of the day, like I was saying, people, they're not going to be able to tell what your studio looks like based off of your music, nor should they even care about that. At the end of the day, if you're making music that you're proud of, if you're making music that makes you feel good, other people will also have similar reactions, and you should be getting your music out there so that they can experience it. Alright guys, it's been a couple days. I got everything wired up. Got a few other things set up, like the bass traps and some extra foam on the windows just to kind of really control the echo and reverb in this room. And I'm pretty damn happy with how everything sounds so far. I'll go ahead and leave you guys with a little bit of a freestyle project I've been playing around with. Alright guys, I love you. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you guys come back and hang out with us again sometime. Take it easy, guys.